This segment of Delmarva Life is brought to you by For All Seasons Behavioral Health and Rape Crisis Center.
Peer pressure, body image, grades, acceptance, social media. Day in and day out, our teenagers are facing these and many more pressures, especially during this pandemic.
Yeah, and if you are the parent of a teen, you know it's not always easy to tap into their feelings to know if they're, well, okay. Fortunately, there is help. Beth Langrell is the Chief Executive Officer at For All Seasons Behavioral Health and Rape Crisis Center in Easton, and she joins us with some help on how to navigate what can sometimes be touchy territory.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so what have you seen in recent months with teens?
So what we've seen is that there's an uptick in anxiety, there's an uptick in stress. When we think about it from the parent standpoint, we think about it from the adult standpoint. We are struggling because what felt like a 10 before now feels like a 20 with the pandemic. And so imagine the littler brains who might not have the skills and tools that we have as adults to be able to manage going back to school, friendships again, trying to figure out how to be in a classroom. You know, there's so many areas that our kids are struggling with. So we've seen a 50% increase in kids reporting depression, anxiety, all of the things that we think about as parents that affect the little brains of our kids.
So let me ask you this, because stress is just a part of growing up, right?
Sure.
So how do you know when it's crossed over the line where, you know, we really need to talk about this?
So I think when you need to pay attention to how children are responding. Is there a higher level of anger response? Is there a quicker response to something other than, okay, Mom, let's talk about it? Are you seeing your child pull away? Are you seeing friendships that are strained? Or, you know, are teachers noticing at recess time that maybe there's a more strong reaction when something's not going a child's way? And it's about taking stock and slowing down a little bit and seeing and identifying patterns that might be shifting in our children.
All right, so sometimes you ask your child, how are you doing? And you get that answer, I'm fine. I'm fine. How do you start a conversation when you don't think they're fine?
So it's about asking questions that don't give one-word responses. You know, we get stuck in sometimes just saying, did you have a good day at school? Well, the answer to that question is going to be yes, versus, so tell me what happened in science class today, or when you were at recess, who did you play with? And tell me about the game. And really using phrases like, help me understand what's happening, gives them the opportunity to not feel like they're on the defensive, but actually just be able to say, well, hey, Mom, let me tell you about the bad day that I had at school. And okay, so tell me what happened and how could we have done things differently? Or do you need me to talk to a teacher? Really starting to engage children differently. And most important is letting them know that they have support, that it's okay if things didn't go right. It's okay if things, you know, if there's a mistake, if there's a missed grade. Every child doesn't have to be perfect, and in order to be able to work more soundly with our children, we need to give them the space to not do it right all the time.
Sure.
Right. So if we start getting that parental feeling that, yeah, I'm starting to get into an area here, I'm not real, something that we're thinking maybe we need some professional help, what do we do?
So we talk to the people at the school, we talk to the principal, you reach out to the teacher, there's guidance counselors, there's agencies like For All Seasons where, you know, it might be that you're calling for a consultation and just saying, here's what I'm noticing in my child. And the reality is, the more we talk about it, the more we realize that everyone is dealing with something. We all bring something to the table. And so if you can approach the teacher and really put together a comprehensive plan, so maybe it's that the child needs to be moved to a different location in the classroom and they need to know that they can take a lap around the school if they're feeling frustrated. Maybe it's moving their lunch spot, or maybe it's just being able to say, if you need something, here are the 3 people at the school that your child can go to.
Right, right. And speaking of talking about it, I understand that For All Seasons is participating in a campaign called Let's Talk About It, and it has to do with anxiety and stress in teen girls.
Yes, we are so fortunate to be partnering with the Women and Girls Fund, and it is a complete campaign addressing anxiety. We've seen a 51% increase in teen girls and the anxiety and the stress that they're experiencing. And so our campaign is doing just that. It's talking about it, it's acknowledging it, it's identifying it. And so I, along with our Chief Clinical Officer, Lisa Lee, will be hosting an Anxiety Let's Talk About It program through the Avalon Theater in Easton. And it's something that we're going to do minimal in person to be really COVID conscious, but we're also going to be doing a virtual platform. And it's really just to engage parents and teens. And we want to make sure that when we're talking about anxiety and the teen girls, we're not leaving out the fact that it also affects teen boys. And if you have a teen girl in your life, you have teen boys in your life. And so really helping folks understand that when we see these patterns, when we see stress, when we see anxiety, it reaches across, and we want to be able to give people skills and tools, because I can say as a parent, I'm sure you all can identify, you feel the weight of the world on your shoulders when you can't solve the issue sitting in front of you. And so if we can be able to share out some tools and some skills so that then someone can say, hey, I think maybe your child went through this, can you help? You know, learned and lived experience is a great way to be able to help people get through when children are struggling.
Beth Langrell with For All Seasons, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.